Alrighty, hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show, Serving Nerve, where we talk about whatever we want, and today we're going to be going through more fat acceptance cringe compilations. So yeah, let's just get into this.
Oops, got your coping skills. Now let's see what we got.
It says BBW redheads. Is that a redhead? Maybe I'm being dumb, but does this person look like a redhead? I don't know, man. I look like the same hair color in my opinion, but I don't know. Anyways, BBW redheads coping skills. That sounds like mommy issue vibes. But I don't know, man. I don't think that's very many people's coping skill. I could be wrong, but you know, I'm just saying, I don't know.
That's not a coping skill.
Because I'm sexy and chubby, man.
Why aren't you on a diet?
Because I like to eat. Is that such a crime?
I'm not gonna lie, I don't think this person looks bad. I know it's kind of difficult to gauge exactly, like, on a body positivity and fat acceptance scale where it gets to be too extreme. But when I look at this person, I'm like, well, I look basically like the same, maybe a little smaller. But on a general health basis, you can be eating healthily at this body weight and exercising. You can make an argument on, like, you know, biomarkers for health and things like that. But when I see this person and then they are compared to a morbidly obese person in the same compilation, these, in my opinion, are two very different body types. One is somewhat like maybe chubby, overweight, could be categorically considered obese, but nowhere close to as severe as somebody who is morbidly obese and obviously going to die early or have a risk of higher complications from just being at a higher body weight. Now, I know that it's a judgment based on the way I'm looking at the person. Obviously, that's not the greatest way to judge somebody on the basis of their health. But when I see this and then I see somebody who's like an actual morbidly obese person, I'm like, again, two different things. That's just my opinion though. Also, I have to agree, I'm Italian, don't like to not eat my food, so I can level with it. Like, you don't have to be a perfectly skinny body weight to be healthy and to exercise and live a healthy lifestyle. I think that's a very bad misconception that people have, but there is that threshold of asking, hey, are you actually eating healthily? Are you actually exercising? Are you doing things that are good for you? Or are you doing unhealthy things? And maybe you're not morbidly obese, but you're overweight or whatever. And even at a normal weight, you can be very unhealthy by doing unhealthy things. So, I don't know, man. I just think it's kind of like, eh. But showing off your stomach on camera, I don't like that kind of thing. I think it's bad for you. I know I say that a lot, but I think it's bad to be showing your body off on camera, whether you're doing it in a body positive regard or just a regular regard. I think it's dumb.
Nothing infuriates a male internet troll more than a confident fat woman. And it's crazy that y'all go out of your way to come in our spaces to degrade us for simply existing when you could just work on your personality to get the kind of woman that you want so you can leave us the hell alone.
Now, when it comes to trolling, I think that trolling is its own subset of, like, vibe. Like, you know, growing up in, like, the trolling era of the 2000s. In my opinion, you troll because you just want to poke fun and you don't really care, and you do things to like piss people off or annoy people, but you literally have no regard for other people and you don't care about your own opinion half the time. Most of the time you just troll because it's funny. But when it comes to this, having issue with it will only attract more trolls. So if you actually wanted to like not deal with trolls, you would just ignore, and then the trolls will go somewhere else. When it comes to this also, though, this whole, like, making people mad thing, I think it's kind of silly because a lot of the time people do not care that much. Maybe people will make a comment on you in a comment section. Maybe people won't like you. Maybe people will say, oh, you're not hot when you're fat, or whatever the case is. But the people, in my opinion, who get particularly upset are not people who are actually just going to troll you. They're people who will obsess over your page or whatever platform you're on. They'll actually be like more obsessed with you than a troll would be, but that's just my opinion. I think that trolling is like you just traverse the internet, you find something, you poke fun, you go somewhere else because maybe they don't pay attention to you, you go somewhere else where you can get some attention. That's just my opinion. But again, like, I think taking issue with it will only attract more trolls. Like, if you present your opinion like this, you're just going to attract more trolls. I think generally speaking, you should just not care what people think of you, and then, you know, you'll basically rock your own vibe. Nobody's going to bother you at that point. Or if they do, you can just ignore it and then just, you know, move on with your life. And that'll actually make people angry. You not caring makes people way angrier. But to present that you're, like, being degraded for simply existing, to have somebody rudely comment upon you or say something horrible to you, in my opinion, is not that degrading. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm, like, ignorant towards this, like, what level of trolling we're talking about or what level of commentary we're talking about. But in my opinion, to be degraded would take somebody in your inner circle or in real life actually doing something degrading to you, or somebody maybe posting something indecent about you, so much so that it would be like incriminating for you or something. But when it comes to somebody making like a bad comment to you or something like that, I don't really see that as particularly degrading. If anything, it's just like a comment. But I don't know. I personally think, though, if somebody says something rude online, it's like barely degrading. It's just the internet. So I don't know. I don't know, man. I don't really believe in like policing people for what they say, more so what they do and how they act in society. Things I believe as a fat liberationist and activist. See, it's so funny because it's like, okay, one, you don't want to be liberated at an unhealthy body weight or size. Like, this is the same thing as saying like, oh, an anorexic liberationist, or, you know, a smoker liberationist, or a narcotic using liberationist, or, you know, something that's actually harmful for your body. You don't want to be considered a liberationist or activist to perpetuate the, you know, acceptance of society regarding these things. You want to actually work through them. Usually with being morbidly obese or obese, it takes a level of overconsumption, underexercise, and the worst thing about it is not those things. It's not the connotations with gluttony or the moral questions about that, or, you know, oh, people will judge you or whatever. None of that matters. It's your health. Your health is the main thing that matters in this equation. If you're doing things that are deliberately unhealthy for your body, the number one thing you don't want to do is accept them, become a liberationist for sorts, you know, become an activist, try and get accepted by society for being unhealthy. It is not a good way to perceive yourself, to act in society, to have people accept you. And even if you're just arguing on the basis of being like given better human rights, one, these are not like normal things to be asking for in the Western world, particularly. When you're given excess access to food, you can live a sedentary lifestyle. You have the ability, by the way, to operate in usually a capitalist or a socialist society with a free market. You have the ability to access food, make money, live in society the way that you want to live based on your work ethic, the structure of the way that you do things, etc. I know I'm kind of being a little bit dumb when I say that, but the concept of being given choice and then choosing to live an unhealthy lifestyle is your personal decision. Being given the choice in society to live the way you want to live and happen to be unhealthy living the way you want to live means that if society sees you making that decision, they have the right to judge you for it, and they don't have to accept you for it. So I think that in general, to be a liberationist or an activist in this regard is actually just silly. You should not expect anybody to accept you or liberate you on the basis of your body weight, especially when it's incredibly unhealthy. Or you can make the argument for the same thing when it comes to people who are, you know, anorexic, bulimic, you know, any kind of inappropriate behavioral pattern that results in you getting to an unhealthy body weight. You can make the argument in all of these regards. And I don't believe in taking human rights away from these kinds of people. I just think that we shouldn't accept these kinds of behaviors to get us to these body weights or find that they're healthy or worthy of being accepted in society. Because at that point, you can literally just make an argument for everything unhealthy being acceptable in society, and that we should accept those things, you know, as not addictions or self-abusive, you know, behavioral patterns or anything like that, but as just like, oh, well, it's that person, that's their life, that's the way they live, and I accept the person and all that. It's a very bad perspective to have. That's just my opinion. I know I'm not making the most sense when I say that, but I just think it's a very unhealthy perception to have when it comes to you as an individual, like being accepted in society. I don't think it's appropriate. It would be the equivalence of somebody who wants me to accept them for doing something else that's horribly bad for their body. Obviously, the body weight matters here, but I'm just saying, doing really unhealthy things for your body, no matter what, you shouldn't be accepted for in society. It's just silly. The concept of being a liberationist or an activist, that literally is you perpetuating the desire to be liberated, to be accepted, to, you know, bring goodness or whatever to a group of people on the basis of whatever you're trying to get them liberated from or accepted for or whatever. So you know what? You guys get what I'm saying. I'm sorry. I'm going off. Dieting is about thinness, not health. Diet is literally one of the most subjective things, by the way, you can ever say. Everybody has a diet, a way of eating, etc. Dieting itself is not inherently bad. You can do a lot of healthy things that will be, you know, considered a diet, but they won't even be laborious for you. And dieting isn't just about thinness. Dieting is just about being healthy. When they say dieting is not about health, that's your own perception. If you find that you're at an unhealthy body weight, you should focus to get to a healthier body weight. If you find that you're overweight or underweight, you should focus on it. Dieting is not exclusively about just losing weight. It has to do with you changing a way of eating to get to usually a specific body weight. Most people find themselves overweight, so they end up going like, oh yeah, I need to diet, lose weight. But other people have to do the same thing in the opposite direction. And also, in general, people should be eating healthier and going on a diet or eating a healthier way. It shouldn't be called dieting. It should just be called eating a healthy diet. They should aim to be eating healthier at any body weight because that's just going to give them a better level of health throughout their life. I think it's silly how everybody's like, oh, dieting's about thinness. It's the thin ideal. It's the societal structuring. It's the way that society wants us to be. It's all about, beauty standards and stuff. It's not. It's about your health. And when this person says this, it's just silly. It's the crazy perception and the fad diets that this person's looking at that are connotated with what they think society thinks is healthy and actually just involving like thinness. But in reality, if you bypass the concept of fad diets, excessive regimented exercise, or ridiculous things that people shouldn't be doing because they're not actually healthy, they are connotated with just quick weight loss tips and whatever, then you do get to a point where, yeah, diets can be healthy and dieting can be healthy, and usually it should be for your health. So I just think it's silly. All these people have these weird, screwed up perceptions of diets, dieting, health, fitness. Everything's got to do with like society, adhering to society, all this stuff. It's really weird. I don't know. I'm sorry that I'm talking so much and yet there's so little here. So I'm obviously making some assumptions, but when I hear this, things about liberationists, things about diets not being healthy or dieting not being healthy, it's just silly. It's just ridiculous. It's so biased and weird. Starting riots is bad. Don't riot. I know that this person's not obviously saying start a real riot, but in general, rioting's bad. And also, thinness doesn't equal health is true. The only true thing this person has said thus far is thinness does not equal health. You can do very unhealthy things when you're thin. Again, this whole start a riot thing is ridiculous. I'm assuming that they're listening to a song or something with the whole start a riot thing, but that's just bad. You shouldn't be starting riots. And also, even if it's just metaphorical, bringing uprising and defiance regarding something that doesn't require you to bring uprising and defiance is just a waste of your time and efforts. Focus on yourself. Quit focusing on other people and on society. That's just silly. And then also, justifying fat hatred on the basis of health is ableist and disgusting. Now, I find it funny because most people, when it comes to ableism, when it comes to actual physical disabilities, things that people cannot choose, limb loss, severe burns, discrimination from society, and or maybe workplace bias and stuff like that, that's actually a serious issue that can occur in some circumstances. And although in certain countries that's like, an actual like triable offense when it comes to like a private company or something like that, where if they obviously are shown to be discriminate towards you due to a disability you have, they can get into a lot of trouble. Bypassing that, the judgment of society, the justification of fat hatred on the basis of health, that's a completely weird, subjective, judgment of society prospect. It's completely based on the judgment of society. This person doesn't want to be judged by society, so they think it's ableist of you, and it's disgusting. When in reality, you have every right to make a judgment on a person on the basis of the way they look or their body weight or whatever. It doesn't matter. People, in my opinion, should be able to judge anybody for anything they do, say, or the way they look. And also, society should be able to judge those people if those claims or those judgments are bad. And then at the same time, you as an individual should be focused on yourself, not on the judgments of society. So it's just silly. It's silly all around. It's a triangle of silliness. I just hate this. I detest how sensitive everyone is. It's silly. It's just ridiculous. I don't understand how we become so brutally sensitive towards the judgments and the opinions of other people. It's just diabolical. You could literally tumble an entire house of cards worth of people by just saying something they don't like. Anyways, I know I was a little hot-headed there and made some assumptions, so pardon that, but tell me what you guys think in the comments below. Maybe I'm being a little too brutal, I don't want to be mean, but at the same time, I'm going through these compilations, listening to people talk about this stuff, and it's so overly sensitive, so trigger-happy, so, ridiculous and weird and delusional to think this way. And the better way is to just not think about what other people think of you if you're not willing to make a change based on the judgments of society. If you don't care and you want to do your thing and you want to rock out, do it. It's your decision. It's your body. It's your choice. It's your life. But at the same time, if you're going to do all of that, expect to be judged, especially if you're doing something that's demonstrably unhealthy for your body. If you're doing something that's going to make you severely underweight, overweight, if it's going to be a consistently inappropriate dietary intake that's going to take you to an extreme on the weight spectrum, or if it's going to be something like using narcotics, abusing alcohol, abusing, nicotine, abusing whatever. People have the right to judge you for it because it's bad. It's bad for human health. It perpetuates the idea that you will die early. And humans don't want to die early. So I just think it's ridiculous to make these claims that you want to be liberated on the basis of you destroying yourself. It's just silly. And I could keep going on about it too. And I'm sorry that I sound so mean and brash, but it's just so insane hearing this. It's just delusion, pure delusion. There's no critical thinking. There's no reflection on yourself. You're not reflecting for yourself. And reflecting for yourself is a very good thing. It's what creates, a well thought out person. In my opinion, reflecting is what creates a really good balance between, your own personal character flaws and, you know, obviously things that you won't take shit for, like, you know, being judged for something that you don't care about being judged about. So when I see this, I'm just getting triggered and dumb. Like, I don't know what to say about this kind of stuff. But anyways, that's the video. Tell me what you think in the comments below. Am I being dumb? Are these people being dumb? I don't know. I'm pretty dumb anyways, so it's not like I'm saying much. But that's the video. Tell me what you think, and I hope you all enjoyed, my people. I will see you all next time, and it has been lovely. Slater.